We're going to go on to the 5 takeaways and see what 5 things we can take away from the 1-0 defeat to Arsenal. And the first one is wide issues.
Yeah, and obviously this is no surprise that we're having problems from wide areas. And yesterday, talking about Son and Johnson specifically, they were, to be fair, with all the congestion there was in the centre of the park and Arsenal very specifically forcing Tottenham out wide, a lot of the onus was on Son and Johnson to really provide moments of quality and intent in those positions. But they only completed 1 cross between them, and they only completed 2 dribbles. I think both of them were from Son, and they were both also when he moved more centrally as well. One was out wide, one was when he moved centrally. So they only completed 1 dribble from out wide. And when you're looking to hurt Arsenal and ask different questions of them, that is just nowhere near good enough. When it comes to looking for those moments of quality in the wide areas. And it's been a persistent theme, and it's something that we talked about last season, and we've invested in Werner again and Odegaard for this season. So, the jury, look, at the moment, there are big question marks whether we've done enough in those wide areas. In the moment, the jury's very much out on that.
Yep, and I questioned it in a massive way at the end of the transfer window and during the transfer window, and I feel like there's nothing that I can see on that pitch that suggests anything other than we've got a shortcoming in terms of the quality that we have in the forward line, and it's very frustrating to watch. Brennan Johnson in his 2nd season now, I'm expecting to see much bigger and better levels from him. Sonny, I feel like he is being hung out to dry a little bit from the tactics from Ange Postecoglou, and he needs to find a way to get Son a bit more central. I don't want to see him as a striker, but I want to see him more in central areas from that left wing position, whether that means Destiny Udogie going out wide and not inverting so much to let Sonny drift into those central areas, then I'm completely fine with that, and that's what I want to see. Yeah. But go on.
No, I would say a lot of the time we're seeing Son out wide and then Udogie underlapping.
Yeah,
but why
it should be the other way around.
It
should be the other way around, and he can't be so married to inverting fullbacks that it doesn't get the best out of Sonny. That's just madness. Mm-hmm. That's just complete madness. So we need to find a way around this very, very soon. Next up, number 2, we're going to talk about Romero, cause for concern.
Yeah, and look, there's no getting around it. Romero is in a bad moment right now, a really bad moment when it comes to how we're conceding. What's really annoying is that when you look at the general play, it's not like he's being shambolic throughout all the game or anything like that. He's doing a lot of good things, but you're pointing at every single goal we conceded. Leicester, he lost Jamie Vardy at the back post, losing his concentration. The first goal against Newcastle caught up the pitch. The second goal completely caught out by Jacob Murphy, and he's caught watching the ball. And then yesterday, for the corner, completely loses Gabriel, absolute shambolic marking. And also he was rash in a moment where Martinelli went through, and he's completely rash stepping out in defence. And I know those moments where he steps out, he does a lot of good things when he wins the tackle, but when he's not winning the tackle like he did yesterday, he puts us in a lot of trouble. And then the marking from the corner, there's no excuse for it. There's absolutely no excuse for it. It's shambolic. And I know Gabriel has 2 hands on him, but he shouldn't be allowing Gabriel behind him. He shouldn't be being in a position where you're marking Gabriel and you can't see him. You can't even see the guy you're marking, who's the biggest set-piece threat in the league. It's absolutely atrocious. And Romero has to get his act together right now, because he's costing us goals week in, week out. Where I'm continually, backing him in fan debates and stuff, like saying he's one of the best defenders in the world, all this kind of stuff, and he's making me look like a mug because he's costing us goals every single week, and it's really, really getting frustrating now. I love Romero. I think he's a top quality defender, but I've got no excuse for how he's costing us goals right now. I've got nothing to say, because it's literally him right now.
Yeah, and you know what? Romero, for the most part, has actually been really good this season. It's just these moments of madness that happen in games. They're like for the Leicester game, right? He was brilliant apart from the goal that we conceded. Against Newcastle, he was brilliant apart from the 2 goals that we It's these small moments in games that are really shining a bad light on him. And you know what else I find really frustrating about Romero is how slow he is on the ball. I really want him to start becoming quicker on the ball and start playing the ball. Too many times he gets the ball and then he just dawdles on it a little bit, and then suddenly the team get back in their shape, and then we're kind of under pressure again. So it's very frustrating.
Charles is very insistent that it was a foul on Romero. I do think if Romero goes down, the foul is given. I do believe that. But as I've said, he should not be allowing Gabriel behind him. The fact that Gabriel's behind him, that's already a problem. So whatever happens from then on, if he doesn't get the foul or whatever, he's only put himself in trouble. So it's his own fault.
He also says, Sim, this channel's becoming too negative.
Well, we just lost the third North London derby in a row. Get with the programme.
Number 3 is wasted pressing.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate because the pressing I thought yesterday was actually really effective, especially in Arsenal's defensive third. We actually won 5 tackles in Arsenal's attacking third yesterday, and we put ourselves in so many good opportunities to create really good openings and really good chances. And I just felt we wasted so many good chances. This is what Ange was saying after the game. He said, in terms of like the opportunities we had, he said we had a lot of opportunities to create good chances, and we didn't actually create good chances from our own good work. And that has been also a theme that happened against Newcastle a few times, and it definitely happened yesterday on a number of occasions. We won the ball in really good positions. All of a sudden, we're on an Arsenal's back foot. We got opportunity to create a really good chance, and then from a lot of these moments, we didn't even create an opportunity, let alone have a shot or whatever. We didn't even create an opportunity to miss because of our own wastefulness or dawdling on the ball or Solanke taking too long or whatever. So that was really frustrating. And basically we had 5 opportunities there to create a chance, and we just didn't do it, and that was mightily frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about that being a takeaway from this game, that's probably a takeaway from the first 3 out of the first 4 games so far, where we won the ball back consistently high at the pitch, but we just can't seem to do anything with it. And it's becoming ultimately very frustrating. And again, we just need to figure out a way how to get that clinical edge to our game, because nobody in that front line is showing it at the moment. Mm-hmm. Number 4 is ran out of ideas.
Yeah, and this definitely goes to the last 20 minutes of the game, because Spurs, we didn't create a lot of XG yesterday. We created 0.74 throughout the whole game from 65% possession and 15 shots. But from the stats read from after we conceded, we had only 1 shot from inside the box, and we had 5 shots in total, only 1 inside the box, 4 from outside the box, which we had 7 from inside the box beforehand. 2 of those being from Pape Sarr, by the way, from outside the box. We only created we created less than 0.1 XG after we conceded, and we just had absolutely no answer to what Arsenal offered as soon as they went 1-0 up. And for those last 25 minutes, and it's a North London derby, you're supposed to be putting the opposition under pressure, you're supposed to be going hell for leather, throwing the kitchen sink at them. We just had nothing to say about how we were going to attack in those last 25 minutes. Arsenal actually found it a lot easier in those last 25 minutes probably than they did the whole game, and we just completely ran out of ideas of what to do in those last 25 minutes. Yeah,
and that is worrying signs when you're looking at going into the second season under Ange Postecoglou. We looked a lot more threat at times, particularly first 10 games of last season, which I hate going back to. But, we looked like a threat that we can create at any chance at will. And now it seems like we can barely create a big chance on goal at the moment, which is really, really frustrating. I just want to bring up this comment from Yogi Bear. It says, stop being negative. We should sell Son now. He was garbage.
You what? Did you know what you just typed? What are you on about? You're being more negative than us. Just
so anyway, let's move on to the 5th and final takeaway, and that is pressure builds on Ange.
Yeah, and I think it's not too early to say there definitely is pressure building on him. The last 11 Premier League games, we've lost 7 of them. Our form since, I think, March time would leave us in about 14th position. The only games we've won in the last 11 games were against Everton, who have lost all their games, Burnley, who we relegated, and Sheffield United, who were already relegated. We also drew with Leicester in that time as well. As much as we can talk about the good football and the positives, and I think there are good positives, and we do play good football, whatever people want to say, I do believe all those things. But the reality is, those results aren't acceptable, and those results can't continue. And if they do continue, then he's going to be in big trouble. And there's no doubt that I'm seeing him looking like he's under pressure in interviews and stuff like that, and he's starting to say, I always win stuff in my second season and stuff like that, because I do think he's starting to feel the pressure. And there's no surprise when we are getting those results. Don't get it, obviously, if you look at the games we did have in those last 11, they're all very tough games. I think St James's Park twice, Arsenal twice, probably in those last 11 games. Anfield, we've been to Stamford Bridge. So I'm not saying these are easy 11 games, but at the end of the day, it's still 7 defeats in 11 games. And when you're, looking to build on something, that's why maybe he's feeling like the team have lost a bit of courage or a little conviction and belief, because when you're getting those kind of results, you are going to lose a bit of that. So this is going to have to turn around really quickly. Otherwise, he is going to start, the pressure is only going to intensify.
The reality is, since Ange has come here, we've only beaten top 10 opposition 5 times, I think, which is Man U, I think, second game under his tenureship. Liverpool in the first 10 games as well, which we were desperately lucky to win that game, even against 9 men. We had to have help from VAR in that game when Luis Diaz scored a goal, which should have been given. And then Brighton, Villa, and an injury-ravaged Newcastle side, which we battered at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So that is worrying, that in itself. We seem to do really well against the bottom 10 teams, which should be a given. And then he's got the lowest percentage win ratio out of Mourinho, Poch and Conte. Pochettino was sacked for less in his first part of the season when he was sacked after getting to the Champions League final. So there are very worrying signs. And if you go on the history of the football club, that will tell you that they will pull the trigger at some point.
If results continue like this, they will. So he needs to turn this around. He can't continue to lose games at this rate and expect that the club will back him until the end, because I don't think they will. 1
win against the top 10 team since December 2023 is nowhere near good enough.
No.
Nowhere near.
It's not good enough.
But that is your 5 takeaways. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding them. And if you have anything else to add, let us know in the comment section below.